السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا لا تخرجنا من الدنيا إلا مع الشهادة والإيمان. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
We are reading from the Reasonings, page 9 for us, the first way and the second point. We've been discussing specifically the messengership of Muhammad, upon him be peace and blessings, and the author is outlining 4 points regarding the character of the Prophet. We are on the second point. The second point, it is the sincerity and dignity that connect character sublimity with the ground of truth. It is sincerity and dignity that connect character sublimity with the ground of truth. Like blood circulating in the veins, what maintains sincerity and what gives order to all the dimensions of good character is just honesty and trustworthiness. Like blood circulating in the veins, what maintains sincerity and what gives order to all the dimensions of good character is just honesty and trustworthiness. When sincerity, honesty, and trustworthiness are lost, the character withers away.
Sincerity, honesty, trustworthiness is one's inner character, isn't it? But honesty, trustworthiness are the practical side of it. If the source is not alive or real, true, genuine, of course the action cannot be consistent. You see, somewhere the text will say, when there are some problems, difficulties, etc., the real character, like the blood, what is in blood, will come out. You cannot really hide it. What is your permanently, you can try to hide it temporarily, but not permanently. I think that's what I understood here. When sincerity is, you cannot show sincerity, but trustworthiness, you can physically demonstrate it. Honesty, trustworthiness are lost, the character withers away. You cannot keep it. If you are, it's understood, I think. So we have to look at the Prophet's life. Of course, we are studying the Prophet Muhammad's being the Prophet. So how do we know? Because his actions have always been consistent with a certain attitude, which means in the blood, he had this character. He has these qualities. That's why he never contradicts. For example, he never told on any moment, on any occasion, a lie, for example. No one said, because the narration, all the narrations from his believers or supporters or his opponents now say that, no, how can you trust this man? I knew he lied last year, for example, or yesterday. He's not consistent. There is no such thing, but there is no such claim. But accusations are being, it's very funny. It's very interesting, actually, the accusations. He's bewitched. He's obsessed. It means it is just a claim. You are just accusing somebody for being not psychologically consistent. But they didn't say that, or never accused him saying that he's a liar.
I have a question. Sincerity, because it's, I guess, to confirm sincerity, if I'm confirming my own sincerity, it's internal. Like, I know how sincere I am. But as far as someone else who is observing me is concerned, are you saying that they're able to determine whether or not I am sincere based off of the consistency in my actions or in my message?
That's what I understood. They don't know how sincere you are. Sometimes the person himself may not know either. You know, what do I mean by everybody looks at himself that I'm sincere because justifies it. But deep down, one must feel that I'm just justifying. But we can look at the actions only. For example, it goes for understanding that what he says, I received this message from God. Yeah, through something, through angel. These are not details. They're not important. This is the speech of God I'm transferring to you. We don't see it. We don't know. What are we expected to do? To look at the message, see the consistency in it, as it claims to be, and then confirm it. Otherwise, we cannot confirm revelation. You realize this? We cannot confirm that it is really coming from God, like the rain is coming from sky. We cannot do that. No one can do it. No one can do this. But only looking at the message and checking the message whether it is consistent or not, we can decide. We have to look at the outcome of what is claimed to be. So honesty, trustworthiness, or the sincerity, dignity, no one knows. Even the Prophet himself said, people pass judgment about other people on several occasions, and the Prophet insisted on every occasion, as far as I know, from the hadith recordings, narrations, it is a very beautiful saying, actually. So, and also we have to know that it is applicable to us. I am not sent to judge about people, what they have in their hearts. I'm not sent to tell this, to judge about it. What does it mean? It's a beautiful message, actually. What does it mean? For me, practically, somebody must explain. What does it mean? Yeah? Yeah?
Well, it's obvious that it's always an assumption, knowing what's in someone's heart. But it's a common assumption.
Yeah,
We all
but
do it.
yeah, that's correct. Extension of it, it means that what I understand, if the prophet, even they say prophet was informed, right, about everything by God, God knows the deep down of the heart, what is in your heart, so he can tell you. Can he not? The God can tell the creator. These are, the prophet. These are just, or of course, statements based on many assumptions, and we know God's speaking, and Muhammad is the prophet. These are all taken for granted concepts. I am aware of it. But we are now talking about one point. If all the claims that the Muhammad declared were correct, it means since God revealed everything to him, God could have informed the prophet that this man's heart is dirty. Somebody's, he has a bad intention. He's an hypocrite, something like this. Even some people say the prophet knew the hypocrites but never exposed them. Yeah. To me, again, assumption. To me, people assume that he must know it. He told somebody else and he told him never declare it, expose it. Narrations may be based on assumptions. This is what I mean. And I'm not saying that all narrations are wrong or something, but people made assumptions with good intention. Maybe this is true or not, doesn't matter. But if the prophet was informed about the people's intention, people's sincerity, and if they knew it, they would act, the prophet would act accordingly. What does it mean? Knowing that person A is a hypocrite. Yep. He's not sincere. So he will act accordingly, and it will be a tradition for us to follow. Do you understand that? And we would also make assumptions about the people's sincerity or intention and react accordingly. That's why even he was informed by God. Still, he said, I am not sent to pass judgment about what the people have in their heart. So never make any judgment what is inside the heart. Only look at the outward action. If the tongue says something, or if a man comes to the masjid to pray with you, even he has a bad intention to kill somebody. It happened, yeah? They killed Omar, for example, in the masjid. Bad intention. Even if you guess that he has a bad intention, can you pass a judgment on him? Guessing. The prophet never showed it, demonstrated this attitude, and leaving a legacy to us that we cannot do that. Even the prophet, even if he was informed, doesn't matter. He didn't practice it. And he told us we should never practice it means we don't know, Qasim's comment, we don't know what is in the vein of a person, but what we know, the consistency in action. So we should look at the consistency in action. We cannot guess that the prophet, the subject is the Prophet Muhammad. We cannot guess that the prophet was pretending to be trustworthy, but in fact he wasn't. Now, how can you know that? Only to see any discrepancy in his actions, inconsistency in his actions, you can do that. But what we see from the very beginning to the end of his life, he never contradicted himself. Never contradicted. And we have to accept that this man's inside, in his heart, there is no bad intention or lying tendency. Lying tendency. It is, for example, not only in himself, the people who educated, the people around him, the prophet educated. For example, on the way to Medina during the migration with Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr was well known first in the community. Muhammad was well known in Mecca as a trustful man, but a simple man. Abu Bakr was merchant and somehow one of the noble people of the Prophet wasn't. So on the way, they encountered somebody because they were secretly migrating. They encountered a man, and man recognized Abu Bakr and asked him, okay, where are you doing, or what are you doing, etc. And what is this guy? What is this guy? Who is this guy? The person did not know the Prophet Muhammad, or that time Muhammad, for him. He said, Abu Bakr didn't tell a lie, but at the same time, it was very risky to tell that he is the Prophet Muhammad. Oh, this is the one the Meccan people are seeking for. So he said, he is my guide. It's interesting. Get it? What does it mean? According to the other man, he is showing the way to follow in order to go to Medina. But according to Abu Bakr, he is his guide in his life. Even in the very perilous, dangerous situation, not only himself, but the people he educated could not tell a lie.
The narrations that a lot of what we're reading is based on narrations. Like you said, there's no discrepancy in the narrations. But are all the narrations his friends and followers? Are there narrations by people who did not believe, or even an enemy?
Even the enemies.
Do you know what I'm getting at?
But the enemies, they could have written something, they could have narrated something. They didn't first about the negative side of Muhammad. No one said that this man is lying, because he's a liar. I've seen him. You cannot trust this man. No one said this. The reason people around him accepted his message, what those people, there were some other people did not accept his message, and those people didn't come up to the people who were following the teachings of the prophet, saying that, look, how can you follow this man? He's a liar. You cannot trust this man. I know him. You know, he cheated somebody sometime. He may be just making up what he's saying. They didn't come up with it. They said, he is not one of our nobles. If God had employed somebody to carry his message, convey the message to the public, he would have chosen one of our nobles. Not this man is who is he? He's a shepherd. Ignorant, not ignorant, maybe the right word, unliterate, they say. I mean, ignorant as far as their understanding of education is concerned. So, and nobody in the society, Prophet Muhammad was nobody in the society. Only the message attracted people's attention, not because of his wealth, not because of his fame, but the message attracted people. And they didn't challenge, no one challenged the message. They didn't say, for example, look, what he's saying that he has received from God, which is the Quran now. No one said that what he's saying in the text or in the narration, he claims to have received from God, it was revealed to him, doesn't make sense. How can you follow this man? But they said on all the historical narrations emphasized on one point, saying that only the poor and slaves are following him. And it is very dishonoring for us to follow him as well and be next to the slaves. It's an honor. They attach themselves to themselves. These are important points that still now some people try to say that there are some verses in the Quran which doesn't make sense or I mean, it is not acceptable. But what they say is, by really twisting the meaning, the purpose, and how do you say, picking up, there's an expression for it. Sorry?
Nitpicking.
Nitpicking? 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 Okay, nitpicking.
Like picking what you want.
Yeah. Picking up and using the criterion, some people are really adamant to be against the Quran. They cannot really, to me, jealousy. Well, we have our religion. Who are they? This Arab, Bedouin people's religion? How can we follow it? The same attitude as the contemporaries of the Prophet took. Yeah. So they try to find out the most unreliable historical texts. The people write like novels, make it exaggerations. Yeah, and they take from these books, although these books are rejected by the serious hadith authorities. For example, the most famous book, Ibn Hisham's book, the life of the Prophet. Yeah, most famous and commonly accepted by people again, but none of the serious hadith scholar approved what Ibn Hisham stated in his book. None of them. They are not reliable. So I read the book long ago. You can guess that he is really making it look nice. Historians can make up, although the physical event they might have mentioned in their book was correct. Like before the discussion, we said, for example, you hear various channels talking about the same event, various newspapers talking about the same event. Event is correct, but depending on the political attitude of the narrator, the news reporter, the interpretation is completely different. This reality, everybody wants to look at the case from his own perspective. So the historians made it or wrote a lot of unauthenticated, or not, which one is correct? Correct, unauthenticated. Not authenticated way of interpreting the events, but they made it into a novel-like, make it exciting, exaggerations, full of exaggerations. The Orientalists take these books, although they are rejected by the mainstream scholarship, they still take that. Look, the author is a Muslim, the names are Muslim, so appreciating the Prophet in an exaggerated way, lots of additions, embellishment. So accuse the truthfulness of the Prophet as received the message from God, but they never ever, still now, able to criticize or reject the idea that the Quran brought fundamentally. They never said, for example, you must be joking. The Quran emphasizes that there is no God at all, nothing has divine power, but only the one who gave existence to the universe. Look at this idea, how ridiculous this is. Have you ever heard any criticism like this? That's why they don't study the Quran as the book of Tawheed. They cannot. So, the Quran has many evidence. It presents many evidence about the necessity of the existence of another life. It means resurrection. Many. So none of the scholars, serious scholar, takes the if they are serious. I mean, as far as their scholarship is concerned, they are very deep scholars, really very knowledgeable. But they pick up. None of them said that, look, the Quran claims that after we die, we will be resurrected. Look at this idea. They cannot say it. They couldn't say it, they cannot say it. But they go there and see that, his marriage with Zainab looks funny. Why? Because Zaid was his son, adopted son. How can one get married with divorced wife of an adopted son and make a story that Muhammad himself made him divorce because he loved the girl. He knew it before, and everybody was dying to get married with Muhammad because of his status now as a prophet. We understand when in Medina, in Mecca is different. In Mecca, the prophet was always looked down at everybody. Those people who didn't believe, right? They don't want to believe for various reasons. But in Medina, he became an famous man. All his marriage, apart from Khadijah, was in Medina. So everybody wants to, women used to get and offer themselves, why don't you marry me? So if Zainab was his close relationship, if I am not mistaken, I mean, not first degree, but somehow a cousin. They were in the same age, the Prophet knew her. But if he really wants to marry her from the beginning, rather than offering Zainab to get married, Zayd to get married with Zainab, he would say, okay, I would like to get married with you. And everybody was dying to get married for the Prophet Muhammad in Medina. Do you see the point there? But they take this matter while they are criticizing the Quran. We should be very careful. Those people who criticize the Quranic message for some this kind of reasons, yeah, they use their understanding of life, existence, world, and civilization, way of life, and accordingly decide that use the people's weakness in this way. For example, getting married with 4 wives, as if Islam is ordering to get married for 4 wives. And they say, how Islam says that you can get married with 4 wives. Now, what are you going to do with it? Because even people cannot deal with 4 wives. No. And also 4 wives, what are you going to do? Well, it means you are really crazy about this desire. Which kind of idea is it? Everyone says, oh yeah. If I hear somebody has 4 wives now, I would say something's wrong with this man. For any reason, without reason. Something's wrong with this man. So they use this contemporary feelings and accuse the Quranic universal message. The door is open, but again, the Quran warns that you have to have a very, very justifiable reason to get married more than one. But the Quran itself says, we know, God says, we know, you cannot act justly. What does it mean? On a very exceptional case, the door is open. Exceptional case. They don't say it's an exceptional case. They present it as if Islam is ordering to get married with 4 wives. Now, all these accusations, as far as I studied, confirmed my belief in the truthfulness of the Quran as revealed by God. I know these are just excuses. Just excuses to be enemy of, because they are enemy of Islam. Why? Very simple. Political reasons and also bias. We are Christians. We are not going to lose our, not necessarily Christians. Are we going to follow this Bedouinist religion? We are the best. they are the worst. Why should I follow them? This is the attitude I understand from very serious. You cannot believe that how hard they work. Oh, they are really scholars as far as this word itself. Seriously study the very, not many people are expert on ancient Arabic, original Arabic language. These people are. And they study like crazy. The sources. Why? To find out somewhere that they can attack. Very deep. Okay. Even they cannot really criticize the Quran made up by Muhammad because they have no evidence for it. But they make excuses of other parts. That I think we spoke a lot about this. But the point is important. I'm just going back to the beginning of the discussion today. The short passage we read, paragraph we read. If a person's sincerity, if a person's dignity, consistency, he is not within himself, he cannot pretend in his actions on every conditions of life in the practical sense. Definitely, there will be some discrepancies in his life. But in the life of the Prophet, for example, he said, God guarantees that he will complete his message, okay? Don't worry. About what? About what will happen during his lifetime until he dies, when the revelation started. Don't worry. God promises that he will complete his message. Don't worry. God will definitely help us. Don't worry. At the end, we will be tested, but at the end, we will be successful. Don't worry about it. We will come back. Don't worry about it. He was telling the people. That's why call it companions, the friends of Muhammad around the people, around the Prophet, were very confident that definitely this religion, this message, will prevail at the end. They were very confident about it. Whenever the Prophet called all of them for any reason, for any cause, all of them joined. You know why? They were sure that what this man is saying is true. Because all thus far, whatever they have experienced, came true. Came true. So in the verses say that, okay, you are expelled from Mecca, but don't worry, it is your city. It will be you will come back. Don't worry about it. And at the end, there was no sign at all. Yeah? When he moved out of Mecca, what did he have? Nothing. All the people migrated from Mecca to Medina. What they did, all their properties and everything left in Mecca, they were just a man like this. But we have no power, nothing, no property, nothing, no value. They started completely a new civilization, a new life in Medina. But Prophet said, don't worry, we will be victorious. Never gave up. Under any circumstances, never gave up that, because he knew he must know that is the promise of God, that he was sincere within himself. But the life conditions, of course, must change. Now, if everything was extraordinary in the life of the Prophet, he cannot be an example for me and for you. Yeah, so there should be nothing. In fact, if a person claims to be the Prophet, there should be nothing extraordinary in his life as far as the mission is concerned. Do you understand this? But of course, those people needed some sort of signs to make sure that the innocent people around him, he has somehow connection with God. The miracles are for them. The miracles are for them, not for you and for me. We don't see the miracles. But we have to see now the consistency in the message itself. I think I spoke. Yeah.
The third point, things compatible and consistent with one another attract and are attracted to one another, while repulsive and contradicting things do not like to be together. Things compatible and consistent with one another attract and are attracted to one another, while repulsive and contradicting things do not like to be together. This is true for both the social and spiritual or moral realms.
What does this paragraph say to you? I understood in a way, but that's my personal understanding. How can we use this third point to evaluate the claim of Muhammad to be the prophet of God? Anything you come up with? Yeah.
It seems what it's saying is that like attracts like.
Yeah, like.
And I know this from experience. And so if the first and second point are true, that he was regarded as sincere and dignified and honest, then he should attract such a following.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Anyone else you wanted to say?
The same point.
No. In a story, not the story, really, interpretation I read, I like that. But it is a figurative way of speech. Satan was speaking to a wise man and arguing with him. The wise man saying that you are a bad guy. Satan was saying, no, I am not a bad guy. I am not a bad guy. What I do, I put in front of an animal. He gives the name of the animals, etc. But ultimately, grass and meat. And the nature of the animal is disclosed when, which kind of animal it is. Come on. So if it is for example, if it is a lion, where does it go? To the meat. If it is a sheep, what does it do? Do you think the sheep is attracted by the meat? It goes to the grass. He said, that's my duties. Just put the food in front of them, human beings. Whatever they have in their nature, they are attracted to this. I am not the one who convinces people to act against their reality. You understand this? Does it make sense? To act against reality. For example, a person is a sincere one, okay? Consistent, sincere. Satan's proposal, the Quran says also in this story, Iblis says, I just propose by putting a food in front of him so that what he has in its character, in its reality, he will be inclined towards these two options. I am just proposing. I am not saying that, I am not forcing in the story. I am not forcing the lion to eat grass, go against his reality. I think this paragraph says all the people who did not have certain attitude that we are the greatest ones. How can I be with the slaves? So they repulsed the message of the prophet. Those people who were modest, if it is true, I have to follow. Modest ones, honest ones, they follow Muhammad. So that is another sign, one of the signs that people were attracted to the message of the prophet, only those ones who were sincere within themselves. Because the message was based on sincerity. Submission. Submission means accept your reality. Don't attribute any artificial quality or artificial status to yourself, whatever you are. Be honest within yourself. For example, since you are created, accept that you are created. Every quality in you is created, accept that every quality in you is created by the Creator. Why do you challenge the Creator by not submitting to Him and attributing this quality to yourself, saying that I am the noble one? What is nobility? What is nobility? Where is it again? Because society regarded you as one of the rich one, or I don't know, knowledgeable one, and or your lineage, especially your lineage. We are a noble family. We belong to a noble family. We are famous in this society, something like that. This attitude is still valid in the society. They don't really stoop to being very poor people. They keep themselves away. Now, today, as I was coming, just as I expressed, a man was standing like this, very virtually like this. And a poor African-American guy was working, cleaning the garden. He just did this. I said, this man can never be I don't know the heart, but the man of church at all. How can you behave in this way? He's a human being. You are a human being. At least if you cannot do the job and ask somebody else to do it, be modest to him. For example, respect him, appreciate his work, not like this. We said, this is really a sign of something. So those people who didn't accept the message of prophet had their own criterion, but they were all artificial ones, not real ones, real reasons. They were all saying, for example, our tribe is better than yours. I am more knowledgeable than you. These are all artificial qualities. But we have to accept that everything, in reality, since I am created, all of my qualities are created, and I have to submit back to the Creator. That's why I think this says this. It was a little bit difficult for me first to understand the third point. All those people who were sincere, looking for truth, ready to submit to the truth, were attracted to the message of the prophet because it comes from sincere source.
How do you account for when people change? Because the way you present this, it sounds like it's static in time and people are either receptive or not receptive.
How do you? There is a saying narrated from the prophet saying that, it's a very famous saying. During the ignorance period, how do you say, the age of ignorance, those who were good ones, they are good ones after receiving the message. Now, what the message is doing, like you know this Iblis or Satan's story that I just narrated. It's a story, of course, to describe something interesting to me. People did not know what the truth was, but their intention, their inner whatever self, were ready to accept the truth. Now, when they convert or accept the message of the prophet, what happens? Not their inner self changes. For example, a person may say, look, since I have no income, so I have to rob the caravans. Example. Now, why not? They don't see that it is wrong. But when they learn that it is wrong, they stop. That is the change. Inner self, inner human reality, whatever you follow within yourself, whatever the value you attach yourself to, does not change. For example, if a person is not obstinate, saying that, look, our tribe is better than yours, right? And whatever happens or whatever my members of my tribe does, my tribe do, I will defend it. Now, do you think this man will follow the prophetic message? Impossible. But if one says, that's why in most of the cases, the followers of the prophets were represented in the Quran as the poor ones in the community, with no claim, ready to confirm the truth as soon as they learn it. In your life also, look around. If someone among your friends, among your relatives, arrogant, They cannot accept to follow Islam. In his nature, but it is his choice. It is not the way that he is created. No, it is his choice. As the Iblis example say, I put the grass and meat in front of the animal. I don't know which kind of animal it is, but he gives another funny example. I don't know the names of the animal. An animal, which let's say a sheep, gave birth to, let's say, a fox. No. Sheep gave birth. What is the story? We shouldn't go into details, How can I know that this is really a fox or this is really a sheep? Now, I put in front of him, and he goes either to grass or to meat, and I understand which kind of person it is. It means, in fact, in order to admit or accept the message of the Quran and submit oneself to this message, he must have within himself an attitude, a decision to follow the truth. So he knew that, let's say, for example, if a person is a Christian, that's why I'm very, very against comparing religions and the people of religions, saying that these people are Jews, they are bad people. No. I'm having on many occasions very interesting things that a Jew came. I don't know, somebody told, and he came to my office and we started talking. Well, he was asking, what is Islam really? Tell me. Well, the people say there are different. Just last week I had this experience, and we talked for 2 hours. At the end of this, that's very strange. This human weakness. What you said made sense to me. If I accept all this, do you think I will become Muslim and not anymore Jew? I was so funny. Last week, I had this experience last week. I was so shocked because he has the artificial title as a Jew. He doesn't want to lose it. But at the same time, he's a man of truth. He says, I will accept all of them. I said, whatever you say yourself isn't to put a name tag on you, you are a Muslim. Because you approved, the God and the messengership of Muhammad and the Quranic message in general, of course, generally, and especially the news about resurrection in the Quran, necessity of it, this kind of things. We do fundamentals. We talked about some fundamental belief system. So whatever you say, you are a Muslim, but I made the distinction between capital M Muslim, which is the political identity, and minuscule M Muslim, what is the Quranic Muslim. So you, according to Quran, you are a Muslim, but you may call yourself as a Jew. Okay, go and put a name tag on it, but your heart is Islam. And all religions, of course, it needs lots of descriptions. Even the Moses religion was submitting to the church. So you are the man of truth. You are ready to submit the truth. And you don't want to insist. But that's it, you are Muslim. Titles are not important. So, as far as your interesting question, the people love exaggerations. the very famous one is, for example, Al-Ghifari. A man from a tribe who is famous for their robbery, highway robbery, caravans. They didn't have any income. They didn't have any other source, but they. So came to Mecca, heard that there's a man who claims that everybody is equal and we are all created by God. It means Abdullah, but we worship, we are expected to accept God only. There is no other superior position or power in the world. And he heard this, well, according to the narration, from his brother, but some people say not from his brother, from somebody. He wondered. He is the very powerful man, the very successful highway robber, because he thought it's the right way. And came anyway. I think I told this story. Imam Ali was young that time. He took him to the Prophet and he listened to him and he said, "You are a man of truth. You are telling us the truth." So I accept it. We think that they said, "Look, the people changed completely." I don't think so. Do you understand why? I don't think so. Why? Do you understand that? If anybody can,
It's already in them. There's nothing that needs to change.
in the man of truth, to submit to the truth. Don't be obstinate. Don't follow the artificial status, artificial qualities. It means the society, for example. If a person is rich, they think that he is a successful man. No, the Quran says, no. You can have lots of money. It is not a sign of success. Success is being a worshiper of God and fulfilling the purpose of your existence. To be a rich is not the purpose of your existence. It can be, it cannot be, doesn't matter. Yeah, for example, they say, we people, every nation says we are the greatest nation. Yeah? How do you know? What is the criteria? Everybody is greatest. Who is the lowest? So how do you know? These are artificial things. For example, they keep saying that this is the what we are doing, or this is for to justify what they are doing. This is for the interest of our nation. Everyone, even the so-called the societies, the members of which claim to be Muslims, they say we are the greatest. Do you think this attitude, if a person has this attitude, will submit himself to God and follow the Quran? They will follow the culture, not the Quran. As long as that's why we have to be very careful having any kind of national, pride. Or family. They call it honor of our family. Honor of your family, your honor of an individual man. Not your family. Even your brother, your sister, whatever, your father does something wrong, you have to oppose it. But at least you shouldn't confirm. What do you mean? It is for the honor of my family. I have to defend my brother. But even I have to defend my Muslim brother. No. We have to be careful. defend my Muslim brother, support my Muslim brother. There are interesting examples narrated in the Quran. You cannot do that. You can only support whoever is right. Nothing to do with your blood relationship, anything. Even your father, let's say, has a quarrel with the neighbor and needed your help. You have to look at it. Is my father right or the neighbor is right? Yeah, most of the case, the neighbor is right to me. And you have to support your neighbor. But our mentality, our minds are so much, how do you say, under pressure of this pride of being a Muslim. To say, they keep talking about help your Muslim brother, support your Muslim brother. Why should I support my Muslim brother if he is, for example, financially needs help? What is he going to do with it? And I have to ask, he's a Muslim, okay, what is he going to do with the, for example, the financial aid I provide for him? What is he going to do with it? Waste or really is his necessary needs? I have to look. But there is let's say there is an extreme example, but no one will like it. A Jew here is really is in need of food. Yes? Necessary. But there is a Muslim brother here, he needs to buy a new iPhone. And which one are you going to financially support? Which one?
The Jew.
This one. The Jew brother.
Jew.
Yeah.
Jew person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you, yeah.
Yeah. That is no. Here is the criteria. If you support the Muslim and ignore the Jew, you can never be the follower of the Quran. Whatever you say that I am a Muslim, whatever you do, pray 5 times a day. I don't care. What is inside is there. Although this kind of examples may sound strange, but we have to be men of choice, men of reality.
I do have a follow-up question. In the examples you gave, the factors that stop people from accepting the truth are all societal, like money, family pride, this idea that you're obligated to support Muslims. I think these are all things that we're taught as we grow up. They're not things that, if a baby's born, they don't immediately think like, I want to get rich and I have to support my Muslim brothers. So on that note, how much of a person's capacity to accept the truth is innate to them versus how much of it is a product of their upbringing and the people they're around?
Learning, getting information. For example, these are not important. Your real tendency that you have chosen is counted. For example, when I was very young, national anthem, everybody looks like serious. I was just laughing when I was a very young child. Didn't know what is that. What is it? We are great. Why are we great? It was a Turkish nation. Turks are great. Why? Why? Because we are all human beings created by the same God, and everybody has his own way of life. And you are great as long as you follow the truth, whatever the truth is. I understood, of course, the truth may be presented in the language, but in reality, you know that if someone really is ready to understand the reality, all the artificial qualities will become apparent to him. But the culture is the, if you like, is the food of the Satan presented to you. Which one you are attracted to is your inner reality. So not from birth. From birth, everybody is pure. But of course, everybody develops certain attitude as a result of his free will. We have to understand that. So if someone insisted that the Muslim nations, meaning, for example, Egyptians or Pakistanis, are great, this may never become the follower of the Quran. Yeah? For example, whatever happens, whatever happens, definitely the Palestinians are our Muslim brothers, we have to follow them. That's very practical and political example. I don't like to give one. It's very common. Whatever is done, yeah, we have to follow the Palestinian Muslim brothers. True or not? We have to see what's wrong with them, what's wrong with others. What is right with them, what is right with others. Accordingly, nothing to do with being Israelite or being Palestinian. Nothing to do with it. But what are you doing, what are you saying, how are you acting is true or not. This is true, this is wrong. Done by, I don't care. That is the attitude we should have. The rest is artificial. So blindly supporting somebody, you know the very famous history narrated in the Quran about Moses, to become a murderer. Well, you must know. Does anybody not know? No. Okay. In the Quran, the Moses came out his house and found on the street, but this is a Quranic example. You know, you don't have to authenticate really which kind of event took place on which street. That is an example. And two people were fighting. One of them belonged to Egyptian tribe. The other one belonged to children of Israel tribe, right? And although Moses grew up in the palace, but he was from the children of Israel side. So the man in the fight, it's an example, really, it doesn't have to happen, this fight. Men in the involved, one of them who were fighting called, "Oh, my tribe, help me." Oh, Moses jumped and gave a blow to the opposite side, and the man died. Example. Yeah, don't say how one with punch, the man dies. No, it's an example. So what happened? He became a murderer. And then because of this, the Quran says, years and years he has to run away from Egypt and go and suffer in the deserts of Arabian Peninsula. Right? What does it mean? He repent later on. What does it mean? What does it mean? You cannot support a person because he belongs to his family. He belongs, or he belongs to your family, belongs to your tribe, I don't know, belongs to your company. Not at all. You have to look for truth. Who's right? if can you say that, let's say, the people say these are non-Muslims, but what they are claiming is true. And the Muslim group or the person is not right. Are we ready to support non-Muslim? Example. At all? If you have this inclination, I call it Muslim nationalism. Yeah, like Jews have Jewish nationalism, Arabs have Arab nationalism, but these are not race-wise. Muslim nationalism, Christian nationalism, or nationalism, Christian nation, support the Christian nation. It is very common language now. Everybody says that, look, somewhere, every 1-2 years, there are Muslims under stress groups. Our Muslim brothers somewhere are suffering. Please support them. Why Muslim brothers? Why Muslim brothers? There are some people who are in need. I can help them. But not Muslim brothers. There are some other people are suffering in another part of the world because they are not Muslim. These are not my concern. Now, if you are the people of truth, definitely as soon as you hear the right way of presenting your truth, you will adapt it. Do you understand? That is the change. The Quran, in fact, doesn't change your reality, but it provides you the opportunity to practice your reality in the right way. But you may say, I am the man of truth, but I support Muslim community. Contradicts. Somebody comes and tells you that, look, what you are contradicting yourself. Muslim doesn't mean that Allah's religion. A person claims to be the followers of that religion, but this person, for many reasons, maybe the followers of that religion, for many reasons, maybe he didn't have another option. He is proud of his own culture, and in the culture they find their own comfort. The community, for example, no one wants to go against the community except the prophets. Do you notice that the narrations in the Quran? Everybody wants to go along, in general, wants to go along with the flow of the community they are born in, except prophets. Except prophets. Every prophet has to struggle against the whole community. Or the one person, but whole community. Start with as if one person against the whole community challenges the whole community. Because they are not carried away by this simplistic way that, okay, well, everybody is Christian, I have to be Christian as well. Follow my religion, everybody is Muslim, so our religion is the best, follow my religion. It is not the way that we are expected to act. We have to question which is right, which is wrong. Is it really correct?
Something's bothering me. What you say makes perfect sense. But when I read certain narrations, it always seems like believers versus non-believers, us against them, and so much emphasis on the community, the community, the community. So that's why what you say makes sense to me, but when we read like in history, especially like, I guess, throughout the early history in Mecca and Medina, it's always like a flip, like us against them. And so many hadiths about supporting your brother, or if your brother hurts, then all of you hurt, your whole community hurts. So this idea of
Community.
Muslim brotherhood, ummah, it's like forged in our minds.
Yeah.
And but when I read like primary sources, it's there.
Yeah.
So why?
So
How can we
we have to
understand
be very careful with the language. Although I noticed you use the same language, all the believers are brothers.
I was giving you an example.
Yeah, the language, that is the Quranic language,
Okay.
translation of the Quranic language. All the believers are brothers. Not the Muslims are brothers.
Okay.
Those people who, we don't know who they are, but the really followers Islam are your brothers. Yeah, do you understand that? That how the community is based on belief. Now, we have to make the distinction between believer and submitting those people, a person who submits himself to Islam, to truth, to the truth, to the way of God, the path to God, they are Muslims. And you have to support Muslims. Not with capital M Muslim. So that is what we have to be aware of. For example, of course we cannot know people's heart, right? So we don't know. But we should not be really, we should be careful not to be Muslim nationalist. That is very important. You can solve many problems. Otherwise, you are in trouble if you question. You will be in trouble.
But if you listen,
Community, yes, community of the believers, right? Community of the believers and community of the submitters to the truth. Even your mother does not submit to the truth and say that, look, my daughter, you have to support your cousin. He's your cousin, she's your cousin, he's your cousin. You have to say, no. Let me see if this person, my cousin, is right or wrong. Accordingly, I will support. Right? For example, I gave the example. That's it. You know, if your cousin is not right, and just because he is or she is your cousin, to support it is not Islamic. It's not the Quran, what the Quran is teaching. Quran always says, be the people of qist. Qist is an interesting word in the Quran. Muqsitin. Now, it is larger meaning than adl. It means justice. Now, you can believe in justice, but in your action, you have to make the aim of reaching the justice, and always you have to be following the justice. That is, you have to be a people of qist. The Quran encourages them. So this word teaches us that I have to look for the truth to support. That's my duty.
So why the emphasis on the community? In other words, if you see people who are atheists, and they are hungry or in need, you can support them, right? Because they're a fellow creation. This is, say, one sense of truth or justice. That's easy. But why the emphasis on community of believers? Like, why is that supporting a community of believers? Why is that so important?
Community of believers, they need to be, that you are understanding this material help. You know, helping, there are lots of points that we have to talk. Helping other people in material sense is different from in belief sense. So material sense, God is Rahman. God supports materially who? Everyone. Equally, yeah. If you cultivate the land and do the same thing as a non-believer does, you get the same result. Harvest, same harvest. Is God being just? Yes. Believer gets something else. Through the harvest, he gets what? Eternal mercy manifested by the creator of the, let's say, whatever is produced. But the non-believer doesn't get it. So you have to support the believers. That's why we have to be careful. Financial, material support does not need any religious discrimination. A person, you are, let's say you are in the street or in the subway car or the train. A person fell down and he has a big, how do you say?
Cross?
Sorry?
Cross? Necklace?
Sorry? Sorry?
Tie?
Not a tie. There's a cross on it.
Chain.
Chain, big chain and big cross, all right? And fell down. You know that he's carrying, obviously, explicitly Christian identity. We don't know why he carries that one. So, but doesn't matter. Let's say he says, I'm a Christian. Would you help him or not? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So, are you a community? Yes, in the sense of a human community. Human beings. All human beings are one community. Yeah? But as the Quran says, we created you different ummah, but group of people. So, but Allah created them freely as they wanted, What we have to do there, we have to make the distinction. For example, what we say, if you want to help a person, our understanding of help is only material. Not the prophets. Don't help people materially. Prophets are not there to help people materially, to teach them how to make more money. Prophets are not there. God doesn't send the message to make people rich. He has already created endless bounty. What God interferes into the life of the people or person about what? Not to make, let's say about to make money, to make you prosperous in material sense, but to realize what the truth is. Now, ummah, you can define ummah, consists of the people who are looking for truth, and you have to be a part of the truth. Not, for example, as you are coming here, yeah, there is a Jew example, or let's say not only Jew, let's give you an example, Hindu, who is hungry. You give him food, right? Doesn't make you the ummah. But when you come into the class, what we are sharing here, yeah, makes you ummah. We are not supporting each other materially. Although I forgot today the brown. It was ready in the room. Forgot. Yeah. Yeah. We are not here to share brownie, or somebody is offering us brownie because we need it materially. No. It is nothing to do with our being a small community here. We are trying to understand what the truth is. Altogether. It makes us ummah. Nothing to do with your, I don't know, I need clothes, and I feel a little bit cool, very cold. Not a little bit. So, to support each other materially, we are not here. But what we do, for example, let's say you believe that we share the same belief system, all right? I am materially in need of something. You have to support me. Okay? Not because we share the same belief system. Because I am a person who is in need of a matter. That's Allah's being Rahman. We have to make the distinction. You shouldn't help me materially because I am a believer. So the Quran makes it very clear. Very clear. Only those people who believe the truth, of course, the Quran says when they believe in God and other elements or articles of belief, are brothers. That makes the community. Our concept of community is ethnic community, ethnocentric, demographic. Right? Demographic. It means Bengali community, Pakistani community, Turkish community, Iranian community. And they said that you have to support the community. We are one ummah. Believers are one ummah, whatever the title is. The other, as far as the material support is concerned, among the Muslim members of a community, regardless of any identity, as Allah treats human beings materially equally. We have to treat them equally. But when it comes to Rahim, only those people who, for example, let's say you grew tomatoes, and an atheist grew tomatoes. Now, they both grow. That's Allah's Rahman. But you grew tomatoes and see the mercy of the eternal God. And you say, I belong to him. He's treating me, look, showing me out of dirt, out of compost, or fertilizer, the most dirty thing. Fertilizer, you created it pure, clean, packed, decorated, present to me. How generous he is. The other one says, I got the tomato. That is Rahim. Rahim to believer. Rahman to everyone. So we have to make the distinction in our relationship. Anybody among the people who come to your mosque, to masjid, whether they are in need of it or anybody outside in need of it, you have to look. When I support this man, is he going to waste it or not? Is he going to waste it or not? Check out. Is he a Muslim or not? No. Is he a believer or not? No. Is he going to waste it or not? Check. Criteria completely is different from what we hear in the community. Around. We have to check ourselves. Sorry, we didn't. I was intending to go further, but we couldn't. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's now, deadline is there. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. وأقول الله الحمد لله رب العالمين.